Hello. Hi everyone. Welcome to Selenium Python training program. Today we are going to study locators. So, what is these locators? Why are we going to use this one? So, this locators is a heart for any automation testing. Whichever the tool you are working on, this locators is the most important concept for us. Okay, that's fine. So, what is these locators? How we are going to deal with it? Let me start with an example. The task which I have given to you is go to classroom A, identify a person and give $1,000 to him. See, this is the task which I have given to you. Assume that you are within a college and I am asking you to go to the classroom A and give $1,000 to a particular person. Just by looking into the task, I can understand that it's not at all complete. The reason is I mentioned here as a person. Within the classroom A, there are 30 people are there to whom I need to give. The task is not clear at all. So identify a person with the name Ramya. Assume that I have given this. Okay, that's fine. You will try to identify a person with the name Ramya, but assume that out of these 30 members, there are four people with the same name. Then again it will be a bit confusing for you. So instead of specifying in this way, go to a classroom, identify a person with below information, and the info is name is Ramya, first name, last name equal to first name is equal to first, last name equal to last, father name is equal to father, and mother name is equal to mother, and address street 1, door number 1, flat number 1, something like that, phone number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, nationality, and all other details. If we have this much of information related to a particular person, even though in a class there are multiple people with the same name, we can identify a unique person as any one of this information will be unique, right? So like this we can identify a person. So this we can treat it as properties for a human being. And left hand side, it's property type, and right hand side, it's property value. Name is a property type and the value associated to that one is Ramya. Okay, that's fine. So this is a generic example. Moving on to automation world. Assume that you are on a Gmail account creation page. And when you are doing this task manually, by looking into the page, I can understand that where I need to enter the username, password, or first name, last name, all the details. Just by looking into the app, I can easily understand that. But how come an automation program know where exactly it needs to enter the value, right? How would a program will know? So everything displayed on a browser, our tool will treat it as an object. Treat it as an object. So developers, while developing the application, they will assign unique properties to each and every object. Okay, developers, while developing the application, it's their responsibility to add unique properties to each and every object. So here, everything displayed on a browser, we can treat it as an object. Link, button, image, radio button, text field, whatnot, everything, anything displayed on a browser, we can treat it as an object. And developer, while developing the application, they will assign a unique property to each and every object. Good enough, done the deal. So as an automation tester, it's our responsibility to identify all the objects with respect to their properties, and we need to pass on this property info to your script so that our program will try to interact with that object and it will perform operation on that particular object. This is how it's going to work. So as an automation tester, you need to identify unique property for an object. Good enough. Done the deal. Immediately, a quick question will rise in our mind. How to identify properties for any object in a browser, right? So this is the most important thing, how to identify that. So there are multiple options. The first option is HTML code in Chrome browser. In this HTML code, we can right click on desired objects followed by inspect element, and the second option is verify the complete HTML content of that page and identify proper objects from the entire HTML. Of course, we will see those options moving further. And the next one is Selenium IDE add-on for Chrome. And the third one is WebDriver element locator add-on. Of course, guys, these are the options, and there are a few more options are there. Expat locator, some other options are there. It's not mandatory to learn each and every option. The point is, tool is one and the same, and then automatically we can switch between the tools. So first of all, HTML codes. So how to identify this one? So the first option is right click on a desired object, inspect elements. So for this one, what I am doing means a scenario, or else the scenario is identify. Okay, the first scenario is identify text field property, text field property in bing.com. This is the first scenario. And the second scenario is identify search button property in a bing.com application. So these are the two things. So let me move on to my browser, and here I'm opening the bing.com application. So let me write down the annotations. So this is my first scenario. This is the text field. And the second scenario is this button, this magnifying button. This is my second scenario. So I want to identify the properties for both. Okay, so among to identify the properties, we have three options. Among those three options, right now I'm studying with the first option, which is HTML codes. How to identify the HTML code? Right click on a desired object and choose inspect element. So in my situation, as per my first scenario, text field. So this is what my first object is. Right click. At last, you can find an inspect option. Clicking on that inspect option, see you can find a bunch of properties here, and one info is highlighting in a blue color. See here guys, if you clearly observe, this info is highlighting in this color. See, this is the HTML information related to that text field. See, the color is in a gray color background. We can say it's in a gray color, with which we can say that this is a properties. These are properties related to the text field. Again, to cross check, whenever you mouse over on this gray color highlighted information, if you observe the browser, okay, if you observe the browser specific to this text field, guys, whenever I mouse over on that, it is highlighting with a blue color, with which we can say that this HTML info is related to that text field itself. Every HTML will start with a tag name, with a unique, or it start with a tag name. Usually this symbol followed by a name, whatever it is displaying, we can treat it as a HTML tag name. In this example, the HTML tag name is inputs. Okay, on the left hand side, earlier we have a written, right? Left hand side, it's a property type, and a right hand side, it's going to be the property value. Okay, left hand side it's a property type and right hand side it's a property value. So it means ID is a property type and the value associated to this ID is sp underscore form underscore q. To select that value, double click on that, automatically it will be selected. Right click, copy it. So we copied the value associated to the ID property. You can use this property in your WebDriver program. Okay, in our program. So like this, you have a class, a name, type. These many properties are there for this particular object. Good enough. Done the deal. And once after we have identified this first scenario, see guys, I was able to identify the properties for this one successfully, right? The next point here is a scenario two. Identify search button property. So right click on a button again, inspect. So when I choose an inspect, see this is a highlighting, and on top of this one you have a parent a child tag. See here, how would I know whether it is a parent or child? See, whenever you identified this one, there is a border here. If you mouse over on that, see a thin border is displaying. So this complete set is related to that button itself. When you click on this collapse icon, so this is what the property for that button is. Label sp underscore form underscore q. Whenever you mouse over on that, it is highlighting that object. The tag name is label, and we have property type is for, and property value is sb form underscore go, and we have a class property and array label property. Good enough. So if you observe the 2 points, the two scenarios, from those two scenarios, what I understood is every object has ID, class, name, type, value, title, right? Class name, okay, we have already added. For array underscore label, a few more properties are there. These many properties are there for every object in a browser. Okay, so my next question will rise in my mind is, can I use all these properties in my program, which is a WebDriver program? Can I use all these properties in my WebDriver program? This is what our next question is. The answer for this one is, we can't use all these properties. By default, your WebDriver has only few commands or few options to identify. They are ID, class, and a name. So if an object is having these three properties, we can directly use those properties in WebDriver. Immediately, a quick question will rise in our mind. If an object is having other than three properties, then how can we use those properties in our program? So this example, if you observe, the search button is having a for and an array label. Assume that these are the actual properties defined for that object. Then how can we identify object using a WebDriver? So the point here is, in general, if an object is having a different properties which are not default in WebDriver, then we need to choose either Expat or CSS selector. Okay, we need to choose either Expat or CSS selector, and in the real world, majority of the situations, we will use Expat. Okay, we will use Expat as a default locator for the objects which doesn't have a default properties like ID, class, and a name. Good enough. Done the deal. Now, what is an XPath? And we studied that. How to write down an XPath? There is a syntax for that. The syntax is slash slash HTML tag name, open braces, at the rate of property type is equal to property value. Okay, this is what a XPath syntax is, slash slash. So if you Observe this one. The HTML tag name is label. So slash slash label, open braces at the rate. The property type is for, at the rate for equal to. In the single quotes, I need to specify the value associated to that. Select it, right click a copy is equal to copy paste that one, close the braces. This is what the XPath I have written. Immediately another question will rise in our mind. How would I know whether it is a valid XPath or not? Right? How would I know whether it is a valid XPath or not? Again, there are two ways to confirm it. Within the same HTML window, press Ctrl plus F, which will open a find window. Okay, a find sub window. See here, I'm pressing Ctrl F. See at the bottom of the browser, I'm just drawing it 1 second. At the bottom of the browser, see here, this find option is displaying, and it is stating that find by string selector or XPath. Let me write a XPath again. So this is a for value slash slash label, open braces at the rate of for is equal to. And as soon as I have a written here, if you observe on the same line at the end, okay, on the same line at the end, 1 second guys, same line at the end, see, one of a one it is displaying, and here the corresponding property is highlighting in an yellow color also. One of one means the property whatever you have created is a valid XPath, and even it was able to identify that particular object. Good enough. So we captured XPath and we confirmed it using a first way. And the second way is, as of now, we are in Elements tab. There is a Console tab. Switch to that. See here, we are on a Elements tab now. And now I want to switch to this Console tab. This one, the console is this one basically. Okay, so click on this console. Okay, I'm just clicking on this console, and here $x, as it is an XPath syntax, open braces, in the double quotes paste the XPath whatever we have created. This is what an XPath is. In the double quotes paste the XPath, close the braces, automatically it is displaying here. So the second syntax is $x, open braces, double quotes, XPath, close the double quotes and close the braces. That's the way you can identify whether it is a valid XPath or not. And in this situation, we have given a valid XPath. For suppose if I change my property as a wrong one, see here 0 of 0 is displaying. The similar way in the console tab, $x open braces, if I give a wrong property, nothing is displaying. We can say that we are unable to identify this particular object. So this is all about the first option. And in the first option, the A option, which is right click and identify the desired object, right? In the next lecture, we will see the further options, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.